You can almost hear a mic drop at the end of that, and I want to discuss it now with our guest for the hour, criminal defense attorney John Day. John, I think it's compelling because we know that Drina Bernhardt testified for the state and said that this was a script saying what she was supposed to say about Donna Adelson that Donna Adelson wrote. But now when you watch them, there's two notebooks. They're both writing things. They're conferring. They're talking. And all of this happened, we just learned, the very day before Drina met with the state to make a deal. What are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts are that the defense is hoping that the jury will see this in a very skeptical way. They'll say that the witnesses got some kind of a benefit or getting some kind of a benefit for their testimony. That's going to cloud their testimony. The defense wants the jury to think that this is a manufactured effort on the part of the prosecution. They shouldn't believe it. I mean, it's a tough one to sell to a jury. I mean, the prosecution does have these statements from these essential jailhouse informants who are saying, here's the script. Donna had this plan. It fits in with the prosecution theme that she is the mastermind. But of course, at the end of the day, you have to remember that the defense lawyers certainly told her, you're going to be on video. There are going to be people in there who are looking to cut deals. Anything you say to anybody in the jail while you're in there awaiting trial could come back to haunt you. So we may see that playing out here.
You know, John, I have to ask you about that because I know you're an excellent criminal defense attorney and I know you tell your clients that. But why is it you see people in jail repeatedly talking on the phone and confessing things or saying things that they shouldn't? And that happened between Donna and Charlie when she was speaking to him and he was in jail. Or they're on video in spite of what you tell them. Why is it that they seem to, including Donna, still do things that you think, wow, this could hurt you? Why are you doing this?
Yeah, it's, you know what, it's human nature, Judge. The fact is that people sitting in jail are isolated. They're in a bubble, literally. They're isolated from the rest of the world. You can be the best defense lawyer in the world and you can sit down with your incarcerated client and say everything you do is going to be scrutinized, but that doesn't always stick with the clients. Another case we can remember this happening was the Casey Anthony case, where there was lots of video of her having conversations with family members that theoretically came back to haunt her, although, of course, she didn't get convicted in that one. But we've seen this at play, and we've seen this in cases, high-profile cases, where the defense lawyers have spent lots of time talking to their clients, warning them, admonishing them, telling them what could happen if they have conversations. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's human nature. You're locked up. You have nothing else going on. You're talking to the people around you. And sometimes that message just doesn't stick.
Yeah, you're right. And it maybe you think, well, even if they're being videoed or I'm being videoed, they don't hear what I'm saying, which was true in this video, but it can still be used against you. All right, stand by if you would, please, sir. Coming up next after a short break, we're going to have more testimony from the matriarch mastermind murder trial for Donna Adelson in Florida. When we come back, we're going to hear cross-examination of the detective. Stay tuned. All right, they had a sidebar at the conclusion of that witness, and here's what we know to share with you. During the sidebar, the defense revealed that they had run out of witnesses just for the day. So testimony is done for the day. Today, the jury's been sent home. The defense can resume in the morning with more witnesses. Perfect time to bring back in criminal defense attorney John Day. John, let's talk a little bit about the lack of a burden on the defense. We know the prosecution has all of the burden. The defense doesn't have to present any evidence, but so far they have presented 8 witnesses. Do you have any opinion or insight as to a strategy to present evidence versus not as a defense?
Well, Judge, of course you're right about that. The defense doesn't have a burden, but of course in the eyes of a jury, which is not trained in the law, and this is the first time most likely that they're experiencing a trial of this high profile, they are going to want something. They're going to have to hang something, have something to hang an acquittal on if that's where they're going. The defense wants to establish in the eyes of the jury that, the old expression that video doesn't lie, but the defense wants the jury to think that while video doesn't lie, people do. And so they want to establish questions about the credibility of these jailhouse informants, for example. What was the motive? What were they getting? What was the benefit? And so even though the defense doesn't have a burden, sometimes the defense wants to put something on so the jurors can say, yes, they challenged the credibility, they challenged the facts, they brought together an alternative theory that we can use to acquit. And that's what the defense has to do. If they want to put those ideas in the minds of the jury, they've got to give them something they have to give them a hook to hang an acquittal.
Now, a hook. I have to tell you, we're expecting, we don't know for certain, but that Donna Adelson may testify. I'm not really surprised from what we know of her. But would that be your advice? And what do you think are the risks or benefits if she chooses to testify?
Right. Well, the conventional wisdom is no, do not put the defendant on the stand. However, this is not a conventional case. If they do put her on, she's going to have to appear very sweet, a little bit befuddled, very grandmotherly. The defense lawyers are going to want the jury to look at her with a certain degree of sympathy, of empathy, of, you know, could this sweet little old lady be a criminal mastermind the way that the prosecution has painted her? So, I mean, I think anything is possible in this trial. And if you know, she doesn't have a lot of other cards to play, and if her defense team has prepared her, given her information, gone through questioning and cross-examination, it's very likely, or it's certainly possible, that we may see her, because what else does the defense have except hoping the jury sees her in a way that says she's not a mastermind, she's a sweet old lady who got caught up in an extortion plot.
And I think that's the way she will try to portray herself if she testifies. So I can't wait to keep watching to see that. John, stand by if you would.
There's no way to...
Still with us, criminal defense attorney John Day. John, weigh in on this closing argument, but also Cardi B herself. The camera's been on her quite a bit, and it seems like she's not paying attention. It almost looked to me like once she may have fallen asleep, and that may add to the disrespect that the plaintiff's attorney is trying to convince the jury of.
Right, Judge. Well, there's nothing in this closing that would make me, having watched it, want to award any money to the plaintiff. But the important thing is, what is the jury thinking? Has the plaintiff's lawyer been able to paint Cardi B as someone who's arrogant, out of touch with, you know, ordinary people? And the fact that the jury is going to be watching her throughout the closing. They're going to be watching her facial expressions. They're going to be watching how she reacts to what the plaintiff's lawyer is saying. And if he was able to land a punch with this idea that she, by the use of this foul language during the trial, that she is disrespectful, that somehow characterizes her as somebody who would do what the plaintiff is saying she did. The fact that she might be looking somewhat uninterested and not paying attention to what's going on, that certainly could hurt her. You know, it remains to be seen what this jury thinks.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with you. I don't know your reasoning, and I'm sorry that we're out of time, but I will say this. To hear of the injury alleged by the plaintiff and the damages being claimed, they don't necessarily line up in my mind, but again, who knows what a jury's going to do. John Day, thank you, of course, for joining us this hour. We are going to have more of those closing arguments next. We'll pause the button, and Cardi B assault trial in California. Stay tuned.